Hey, we know it's important for me as the teacher to build relationships with each of my students, but it's also important to build communities. So their connections among each other so that they all feel like they belong. And they're going to be more engaged if they feel like they belong in the learning community. So let's get down to brass tacks with what community building really entails. And like anything in education, there's multiple ways to do it. One really popular way is to have kind of a class meeting. There's a lot of different words for this. What it essentially boils down to is a whole group discussion where people answer an icebreaker question. And this could be something really casual, like your favorite food. It could be something a lot deeper and more heavy, like what's the hardest thing you've ever experienced in your life. Just an icebreaker question, and everyone answers it. And there's a lot of different formats for that. When we're doing this in person, sometimes it can take a while. We're letting each student answer that question one by one. I would argue this is one of the areas where things can actually move a lot quicker in a virtual format, and it's easier to fit this in at the beginning of a lesson or the end of a lesson. So this is a document of sample community building questions. Like I said, there's going to be some that are really casual, some that are really heavy. Recommend starting with the really casual, easy ones, and then maybe moving into the deeper, heavier ones if you feel comfortable. But there's so many options. This is a big whopper of a document. Got a lot of options to choose from. So what you might do is starting a lesson, pose one of these questions in the chat. You could put it on the screen. You could just type it into the chat. Give students an appropriate amount of time, so maybe 30 seconds, depends on the question, to type their answer into the chat and tell everyone to wait. And then when you say 1, 2, 3, go, or something like that, they all click enter, and then all of their responses come up at the same time. So they're not getting distracted by everyone else typing. All of them come at the same time. It's called like a chat waterfall. Then instead of going through them all, which again would take a little while, you could assign students, just find a response that wasn't yours that was really interesting. So they get to sort through and find one. You don't have to assign partners or anything. They just pick one that wasn't them that they find interesting. And then you pick a random amount of students to report out. So again, depending on time, you could have this be 5 kids, you could have it be 3, you could have it be 2. Just pick a certain number of kids and you can pick them at random. Hey, share out which response did you like and tell us about it. And that's a really good way to fit this in only a couple of minutes at the beginning of a lesson. And you could do this daily as a ritual. You could do this a couple times a week, once a week. But again, it's one of those things that's actually faster to fit in this virtual format than in person. Thanks for your time. Have a good one.